Hello everyone, this video is on how to crack NMAT. Let's look at an overview of the session. We'll be covering the following aspects in this video: introduction, test pattern and scores, sample questions, and preparation strategy. Let's start with the introduction part. NMAT is an abbreviated form of Narsee Monjee aptitude test. Narsee Monjee is a business school in Mumbai. It is the entrance exam for admission to all the MBA full-time courses of NMIMS Mumbai and the PGDM courses of NMIMS Hyderabad and Bangalore. Some other B schools also accept this test score. These are Alliance University, which is in Bangalore, ICFA University, based out of Hyderabad with multiple centers, Thapar University, which has a B school in Derabasi, close to Chandigarh, and Ansel University, which is in Gurgaon. Now, NMAT is known as NMAT by GMACT. NMAT by GMACT is a computer-administered test owned by the Graduate Management Global Connection Private Limited, GMGC, a subsidiary of GMACT, which is Graduate Management Admission Council. The NMAT by GMACT exam for the academic session 2016 will be offered in a testing window from October 6, 2015 to December 9, 2015. A candidate can take NMAT up to a maximum of 3 times. First attempt plus 2 retakes, including no-shows if he/she wishes to. There has to be a gap of at least 15 days between 2 successive attempts. For candidates having multiple attempts, the best score, total and sectional, is considered for shortlisting purposes. The result for each attempt is declared separately approximately 15 days after the test attempt. The NMAT by GMACT exam is a computer-delivered one and gives each candidate a randomly generated test. The number of questions, difficulty levels, and the time limit for each of the sections is predetermined and are the same regardless of when and where the test is administered. The NMAT by GMACT exam has 3 sections: language skills, quantitative skills, and logical reasoning. You will have a choice of selecting the order / the sequence of the test sections. So you can decide in what order you have to approach the test and then stick to the time limit in that particular section. Let's look at the test pattern. A snapshot here. Language skills. The number of questions is 32 and time allotted is 22 minutes. Quantitative skills, 48 questions, 60 minutes. Logical reasoning, 40 questions, 38 minutes. So if you look at the number of questions and time limit, the balance there, we have 120 questions and 120 minutes for the entire test. Each section is individually timed. You need to answer questions of each section within the allotted section time. Once you complete a section, whether you select to move to the next section or if time runs out, you will not be able to return to that section. You are therefore advised to take the exam as a collection of 3 individually timed sections and need to perform your best in each of the 3 sections in the given section time. You should also understand that balance time of one section does not get added onto the next section. So you should be fully sure of yourself before moving on to the next section. The test total scaled score will be announced within 4 to 5 weeks after the candidate has tested. The percentile scores will be calculated after all candidates have taken their exam and announced in January of the next year. Let's take a look at the sample questions in each of the 3 sections, starting with language skills. Fill in the blank. As soon as dash with an aerial salt, water is formed. Then we have 5 options there. You can appreciate that the keywords here are water is formed and the connector is as soon as. So one must use the simple present tense reacts in this particular blank, which means therefore the answer should be option B. As soon as a base reacts with an aerial salt, water is formed. Let's take up another question on language skills. Select the word or phrase that is nearly the opposite in meaning to the word given in the question stem. The word is divulge. And again we have 5 options there. Divulge, of course, means to reveal. So obviously option A is eliminated. And we have to look at an antonym for this particular word, and the closest therefore is option B, which is hide. Let's take a look at the other section, which is quantitative skills. In a race of 875 meters, A can beat B by 175 meters. In another race of 6,300 meters, B can beat C by 1,575 meters. By what distance can A beat C in a race of 2187.5 meters? Now this question has been taken from the concept of races, which goes back to a larger concept there, time, speed and distance. If you look at the analogy here, we have three people who are in a competition, a race. A has been compared with B and B has been compared with C in two separate events. So if you can link A, B and C and find the ratio of the distance which they will run in the same time, it gives us some clue to begin with. So A is to B is to C is what you have to find. Once you do that, then it's a pure application of unitary method. So you can possibly figure out that if A travels this much distance, in the same time C travels this much distance. The difference of the two is the answer, which in this case is option B, 875 meters. Let's take up one more question on quantitative skills. This question has been sourced from a sub-concept called data sufficiency. It says, a question is followed by two statements, numbered 1 and 2. Using the information provided, decide whether the information is sufficient to solve the problem. Let's take a look at the question. 3/4 of the boys in a class are intelligent, and there are 18 intelligent boys in the class. What is the number of girls in the class? The statements given are, statement 1, boys comprise 2/3 of the total number of students in the class, the rest are girls. If you look at the statement individually, separately, you obviously can find out what the question requires you to do, and that is the number of girls in the class. Right? So this statement alone is sufficient to answer the question. However, if you look at statement number 2, the number of girls in the class is less than the number of boys. It does not give us any tangible input. It just makes a relative statement, a comparison that the number of girls is less than the number of boys, which obviously is no clue for us to solve the question. Therefore, we can infer that the question can be solved by the application of statement 1 alone, and hence the answer is option A, which says statement 1 alone is sufficient, but statement 2 alone is not sufficient. All the other 4 options will not satisfy this criteria. Let's take a look at a sample question from logical reasoning skills. The code for the word ramshackle in a certain language is 23, 6, 18, 24, 13, 6, 8, 16, 17, 10. What will be the code for the word onerous in that language? Now, some analysis there, and I'm sure as a test taker you can figure out that the code here is the position of the letter in the English alphabet plus 5. For example, if you look at A has been coded as 6, which is 1, that is the position of this letter in the English alphabet, plus 5. If you look at E, it is 5 plus 5, that is 10. So the decode is, you just figure out the position of that letter in the English alphabet and add 5 to it. Now the question becomes far easier to manage, and you can look at the options and figure out that 1 and 5, these two positions have an application of the same letter, which means that the decode should also give the same number. If I apply this logic, then obviously option A is out, option B is out, option E is out, yes, option C and option D would qualify, because both the options will give you the same value for the first and the fifth positions of the D code. However, we also know that E here stands for 10. And if you look at E, it is the third position here. So third position has to be 10, which is only true for option number D. Hence, option D is the answer. Let's look at another dimension of the test, which is, I think, of prime concern for the students here, for the test takers, and that is preparation strategy. You will get 48 questions in the quantitative skills section to be completed in 60 minutes. So roughly we have 1.25 minutes per question. Now this is the first thing which you need to do. You need to understand that what is the task expected of you and in how much time you have to accomplish that task. So for the quant section, we narrow down to this conclusion that 1.25 minutes per question is what we have to manage. The section will test you on 4 important areas of math: arithmetic, algebra, geometry, and modern maths. Once you have this plan in front of you, it's easier for you to put an effort across all the modules. For example, if you look at arithmetic, you possibly start with concepts like numbers, percentage, profit and loss, averages, mixtures. If you look at algebra, you talk about equations, simple and quadratic both. We talk about geometry and we talk about circles and triangles in a very, very relevant manner. If you talk about modern math, it will unfold areas like permutations, combinations, probability, functions, logarithms. So this is a sectional plan for the quantitative skills area. Begin with basics and ensure concept clarity on fundamental properties, formulae, and number operations such as odd and even, prime numbers, LCM and HCF, etc. before graduating to advanced concepts. Given the time constraints, your mental math will have to be proficient. When I talk about mental math, I'm talking about you being familiar with multiplication tables, squares, cubes, common fractions, and their percentage equivalents. For example, if you talk about 12.5%, you should be quick in figuring out that this is 1 by 8. And all this will definitely be of help and make sure that the time spent per question is desirable. You will get 32 questions in the language skills section to be attempted in 22 minutes, which makes it 40 seconds per question. Now 40 seconds per question is more demanding, therefore you'll have to be quick in this particular section. The section will test you on 3 areas of English: vocab, grammar, and comprehension. To improve both vocabulary and comprehension, pay special attention to the editorial section of newspapers. This is one area which will help you to improve your connect with vocabulary and comprehension. The usage of a particular word and the way it fits in a particular article, which is the editor's note of things, will definitely help you to strengthen your language skills here. Grammar can be improved by appreciating its rules and the application thereof. You will get 40 questions in the logical reasoning section to be attempted in 38 minutes, giving you about 1 minute per question. The section will test you on 2 areas of reasoning: verbal and analytical. Never assume or use any information that is not provided in the question. Assumptions, erroneous over here, assumptions have to be stayed away from, and you have to use the data which has been given in the question. It is the context which is important for us. Pay special attention to words like all, some, or none. Other qualifying words like other than, only, or unless are also important. Try to present information pictorially, especially in arrangement questions or as a Venn diagram in syllogism questions. One must appreciate that logical reasoning skills cannot be developed overnight. The paper can be thus split into 2 parts. One which is concept driven and the other which is practice intensive. Quantitative skills and select areas of language skills are concept driven. So unless you know the concept, you cannot approach the question. For example, if the question is on cyclic trapezium, now unless you know what is a cyclic trapezium, you really cannot approach the question and take it to a level of completion. Logical reasoning skills are practice intensive. This is where you need to practice across similar questions. Once you've done it successfully, repeatedly, across a number of questions, your comfort level builds up and you're more geared up to manage this particular area of the test. Follow a 3-step approach: concepts, application, test taking. So you have to ensure that the key concepts are in place, where we said that quantitative skills and certain areas of language skills are more demanding in terms of concept awareness. Once you've mastered the concepts, then you graduate to application. How do you apply that particular concept in the context of a question? And then how do you manage multiple questions in the format of a test? And when you talk about a test, we talk about various skills which you need to develop. We talk about time management, we talk about prioritization, and we talk about balance between accuracy and speed. When I say time management, I'm talking about how much time per question you need to allocate so that you are not just effective, but you come out as an efficient test taker. And prioritization, in terms of which section would you like to begin with? As I said a while back, there are 3 sections to choose from. But once you decide on a particular section, you have to stay there for the particular time duration which has been allotted to that particular section. Then you can't go back and go on to the next section. So you have to decide as a test taker which section should you therefore begin with. We typically recommend that it helps to start with a strong area, and that gives you a positive flavor with respect to the test. It builds up a certain inertia with respect to that test and gets you going. And somewhere in the middle of the test, you need to place an area or a section which is more demanding in terms of concentration. For example, a comprehension challenge is better managed if you place it somewhere in the middle of the test, and then you wind up again with an area where you are relatively stronger as compared to other areas. But this strategy is dependent from one test taker to another, and it really evolves when you practice across a similar number of tests. And this is where the Bullseye test series would help you to build up that comfort level, to build up that particular strength which you need for the different sections there. Balance between accuracy and speed. As I said, that effectiveness is one challenge and the other challenge is efficiency. So your ability to solve the question is accuracy, is effectiveness, and your ability to solve it in a particular time frame is indicative of your speed or the efficiency. So these are the points which you need to keep in mind as an NMAT test taker, and we hope this video has given you insights into the NMAT by GMACT examination, and it will help you to manage the challenge in a better way. Thank you.